Hello everyone, in particular the CBC learners, I mean those who are under the competency-based assessment. I welcome you to my physics tutorial channel, and I'm very excited to share my knowledge with you, and I hope it helps you understand complex physics and all the concepts that are involved in physics. I hope the tutorial will help you understand and be in position to interpret all the scenario based items. Here we go. In brief, the new lower secondary competency-based physics curriculum is made up of 3 papers, and that is paper 1 with a code 5351, and this paper is compulsory to all registered candidates. The rest of the papers are paper 2 and 3 with the respective paper codes 5352 and 5353 are practical papers. Here, the candidate is expected to register and sit for one of them. And for this, the choice of the practical paper is actually determined by the number of candidates the school has. And meaning for a school with a smaller enrollment, it is a must for them to register for paper 2, and that's 535/2 only. And then for schools with a larger population, they can as well register for paper 3 and also paper 2. So this is just done to cater for the population. Now for the case of practical, the book is already out. You can contact the author using the numbers or the phone contacts below. So let's discuss about the structure of the paper or the element of construct. In simple terms, we are going to exhaust the topics that we combined to make a theme, and how they appear in the two sections, section A and section B. Now, like we agreed, the code of the the theory part of it is 5351, and this paper is made up of actually 2 sections, that is section A and section B, with a grand total of only 7 scenario-based items. For the candidates who registered for this paper, a candidate is expected to give responses to only 5 items, and any additional item may not be marked or will not be marked. So just like we agreed, there are 2 sections. The section A has the following qualities. 1, it is a compulsory section. 2, with only 3 scenario-based items, meaning all the 3 scenario-based items from section A must be attempted, or the item taker should give responses to these all the 3 items. Section B has 2 parts, part 1 and part 2, and each part has 2 scenario-based items. So a candidate is expected to attempt only 2 items, and this is from selecting 1 item from each part. However much there are 2 scenario items from each part, a learner or the candidate is just to pick 1 from each. In simple terms, section B, a learner is to attempt only 2 items, plus the 3 of section A, they make a grand total of 5. Note the time is strictly 2 hours and 30 minutes for this paper. Let's move to the next slide. This slide will give us a breakdown on how the topics are grouped to form a theme, and from which we get to see the item distributions, and items are distributed according to the themes we have. Now item 1 is coming from the theme light and waves, and now for us to come up with this theme, there are majorly 6 topics that we have to combine to generate a scenario based item that covers at least 2 topics from these 6 topics. Now we have the topic called nature of light, reflection of light at plane surfaces. This is covered in senior 1. Reflection of light at curved surfaces, senior 2. Refraction, dispersion and color, that is senior 3. Lenses and optical instruments, senior 3. General wave properties, senior 3. And sound waves, senior 3. And meaning by second term of senior 3, the candidate or the item taker must be in position to hijack all scenario based items coming from the theme light and waves. Item number 2 is actually coming from the theme called atomic and nuclear physics. In other words, modern physics. This has actually 2 topics. The first one is atomic models, and then the second one is nuclear processes. All this is covered in senior 4, and by third term we anticipate that the candidate, before sitting for the final end of cycle assessment, the candidate must be ready to attempt the item coming from this arena. Item 3, that is still a compulsory item, it is coming from space and earth science. This talks about stars, galaxies, earth and space physics, and digital electronics. The topics that were combined to form this theme are the solar system, that is covered in senior 2 by second term there. Third term, stars and galaxies, senior 3, third term. Satellites and telecommunications, senior 3, and then digital electronics, senior 4. Now before we continue, the advice I give to my candidates, my item takers, is that from all these chapters, these topics, we should be in position to analyze the real life scenarios, the real life situations that do happen, and bring the manifestation of the physics principles, the physics laws, manifestation of the physics concepts. For example, under waves, sound waves, can we be in a position to explain why sound is more clear at night than at day? Can we explain that? For example, under refraction, dispersion and colors, can we be in position to explain how the rainbow is formed? Can we be in a position to explain the outcomes or the outcome of mixing different colors? Can we be in a position to explain that? So in all the chapters, as we to cover all this, I advise you to be ready to always identify, highlight those real life situations, because by the end of the day, the scenarios that we meet are actually coming from these real life occurrences. I mean, the formation of the shadow, the solar and the lunar eclipse. Can we be in position to explain all that? So let's move to the next slide. So now section B, we agreed we have two parts, part 1 and part 2. And for part 1, we shall have two items, of which a learner or the item taker will pick one of them. The two items, that is item number 4 and item number 5. These two items, number 4 is coming from mechanics, and then number 5 is coming from heat and heat capacity. The topics that are combined to form this theme are measurements in physics taught in senior 1, actually the first day in class or the first week in secondary. This is what you cover or you meet. States of matter senior 1, effect of forces senior 1, work energy and power senior 2, turning effect of forces, center of gravity and stability senior 2, pressure in solids and liquids senior 2, mechanical properties of materials and Hooke's law senior 2, linear and nonlinear motion senior 3 term 1, temperature measurements, that is senior 1, heat transfer, that is senior 1, expansion of solids, liquids and gases senior 1, then heat quantities and vapors. So to a planned item taker, I anticipate by term 2 or even term 3 of senior 3, you must be in position to hijack still scenarios that come from theme mechanics and heat. The trick here is very simple. Lay down the topics, get to realize, ask yourself a question. What is your stand in this? Talk to yourself and be honest to yourself. Ask yourself, check and examine yourself, your stand in all these topics. Then the part 2 of section B, we have the two items, that is item number 6 and item number 7. Item number 6 is always coming from magnetism, and item number 7 automatically electricity. In these two items, they form a theme called magnetism and electricity, with a combination that has a combination of the following topics: magnets and magnetic fields senior 2, electromagnetic effects senior 4, electrostatic senior 2, introduction to current electricity senior 4, voltage resistance and Ohm's law senior 4, and finally electric energy distribution and consumption. The question is, are we in a position to calculate the amount of electricity consumed in a given period of time? Are we in position, or we are just good at paying electricity bills without knowing actually what we are paying? So as an item taker, before you drop any response on a paper, can we project this idea to real life situations and get to know the logic behind this energy consumption? Well, let's move to the next slide. So just like we agreed that physics has now two papers. The paper 1 is the theory part of it, though competency based assessed, and the second paper, which is a practical paper. However, it is divided into two to just cater for a bigger population in different schools. And in summary, for the practical paper, we shall have a grand total of two items, and these two items shall appear from either mechanics and electricity, electricity or optics, or mechanics and optics. Now, to be honest, a candidate must have covered all the three chapters, that is mechanics, optics and electricity. The interesting part of it is that the candidate is only to attempt one item. However, this should not restrict any facilitator from giving the candidates the information from all the three sections: mechanics, optics and electricity. Now, the mode of this practical book or practical concept is in details, and I try to make a book for it. You will have to buy it and expand your understanding on this part of practical. The examination is 2 hours. There are 2 examination items, and the candidate is expected to pick only one or select one. And the setting is quite modified, that in such a way that the items are scenario based, and these scenarios are got from real life situations. In other words, the real life application of some of these physics concepts, principles and laws. Now from there, that's where we generate a scientific investigation. In details, get the Excel without tears book, practical physics book for new lower secondary physics, from the author Opero Stephen. Thank you. Let's move to the next slide. Well, thank you for joining me today, and if you have any question, any addition or contribution, or any topic you would like me to cover, leave a comment below in the comment section. And if you want to see more physics lessons, be sure to subscribe. Thank you for watching. I repeat, if you found this lesson helpful, be sure to subscribe for more physics tutorials. May God bless you. We meet again.